Hey guys, so I probably look a little odd to you because I pretty much have a full face of makeup on except for eye products. And that is because we are going to be playing with the new Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadow palettes that she's come out for holiday so far. I'm not sure if she's coming out with any more, but this is what she's released so far. So we have the very large Instant Eye palette, Smoky Eyes Are Forever. This is the 12 pan palette. So we'll be playing with that one. And then she's come out with two quads, and these are Luxury Palette of Pearls quads. The lighter one is Celestial Pearl. That's this one. And the one that has some deeper shades in there is Cosmic Pearl. So I wanted to do 3 different eye looks using the 3 different palettes. So I'm going to go ahead and start with Celestial Pearl. This is the lightest one. Here is an up-close look at this palette. And what you'll notice is that we have 3 pressed shadows, and then the top right-hand corner, that shadow is a Beige shadow, which is very, very exciting. I really like this kind of mixing and matching. I really like the Beige shadows, but it's really nice to have like the different, but I think it's really fun to have like the different formulas all in one palette. So let's go ahead and take a look at some swatches. I swatch from left to right, top to bottom, and all of these shades are, they're very light. They are very celestial. They're very shiny, shimmery. The Baked Gelée shadow, which is the second swatch in from the left, that one has a little bit of a color shift in there. So this is a very, very pretty quad. I am just curious whether or not I'm going to be able to use this all on its own. I think so. I think so because I do like lighter eye looks. But let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to start with this shade right up here in the upper left-hand corner. I've got my Sonia G Worker 1 brush, and I'm going to sweep that across most of my eyelid. I'm starting at the inner corner here and sweeping it across like my eyeball. So just short of the outer corner here. So that is the first shade. It's so pretty. The metallic glint to it is like one shade, and then the base eyeshadow color is like kind of a warm tone. The metallic is like more of a cool tone. All right, next I'm going to go into the Baked Gelée shadow. That's the one in the top right-hand corner. I'm going to use the same brush. I just wiped it off on my microfiber towel. And this shadow is definitely a little bit piecier. It's not as creamy as the pressed shadows. So I'm going to kind of press that onto the skin here and then work it in. I don't think there's enough of a contrast between this shade and the first one I put down. I feel like it's just kind of running together. So if I were to use this quad, I feel like I'd have to pick one of these. But I hope you can see that shade. It has a really beautiful duochrome. Kind of starts out as like a light gold and then it shifts to like a rose gold. It's really pretty, but like I said, it's very close to this first shade in terms of like color depth, you know, it's just kind of, looks like one big shadow. And then next I'm gonna go into the bottom right-hand corner shade. This is obviously the deepest color in this quad. So again, I'm just going in with the Worker 1, and I'm gonna pat that kind of on the outer corner here, but mainly along my lash line. I just want to see if I can use this shade to deepen up my look. You know, is it deep enough? Because it is very satiny. Actually, I do like that along the lash line. I mean, you really have to like a very shimmery, celestial, pearly kind of look. But it does do a little bit of definition there along the lash line. And I'm just kind of patting a little bit on the outer corner here. Well, it's very, very pretty. It is very, very shimmery. This is definitely an eye look I can get down with, but I can definitely see why some people would use this kind of as like a partner palette to other palettes to just kind of add a little bit of shine or whatever, but I would have no problem using this all on its own. I think it's very pretty. And it's like really shiny. All right, so I hope you'll forgive me. I'm not gonna add any eyeliner or mascara because if I have to remove all of that every time I do an eye look, my eyes are gonna be like on fire. So I'm just gonna leave it here, but that is the Celestial Pearl Luxury Palette of Pearls palette. So in terms of quality, I think it's very consistent with Charlotte Tilbury eyeshadows. I feel like I got nice pigmentation. I think they applied really nicely. Looks good to me. All right, let me remove this and then we'll move on to the next luxury palette of pearls. Okay, next we have Cosmic Pearl. Here's a close-up look of this quad. And this time, the one Beige shadow is in the bottom right-hand corner instead of the top right-hand corner. And here are some swatches of these four. And again, this palette, in comparison to the Celestial Pearl, has a much deeper color story all around. And that Beige shadow, again, much like the one in the first one, has like a duochrome shift to it. Very, very pretty. And then here are the two quads swatches next to one another so you can compare. I mean, they look fairly different in the pan, so I'm sure you can imagine how different they are, but here is a visual of that. All right, I'm starting with a fresh Sonia G Worker 1 brush. I am gonna go into this first shade here. It's the palest shade, it's like a champagne. And I'm gonna put this in the inner corner. That is pretty much my skin tone. I don't know if you guys are gonna see that at all. And it has a very soft satin finish. So in comparison to the first one, this is already a lot less shiny and metallic and glitzy, a lot less than the Celestial Pearl. So this palette has like two satins, that one matte and then the one duochrome. So this is a lot less shine. All right, I'm gonna go into this next shade over here on the top and going to add this to the outer corner here. And this, just like the first shade, has a very soft satin finish. But the shadows are blending really nicely. I'm going to take my Sonia G Smudger 1 brush and go into this matte brown shade and line my eyes with that. See if this is deep enough. Yeah, that's deep enough. And then if you were to use like an eyeliner in the waterline and tightline with one, I think that would work out really nicely. All right, and last but not least, I am excited for this Beige formula in here. So taking my Worker 1 brush again, going into that shade, and I'm gonna put this on the center of my lid. I wanna see if I can build it up there. This Beige shadow is much harder in the pan versus this one, which was kind of crumbly. Yeah, this one is much harder. I feel like I'm really running my brush over the pan. I think you can probably see that purpley shade there. Let me try using my finger for the other eye. That may work out better. So I am feeling the same way about this palette as I did the Celestial Pearl, in that I find these two shades to be, I mean, they're obviously different colors, but because they have a very similar like depth of shade, it's, I don't know, I feel like I would just choose one or the other, and then if I paired it with this light one, you would just see like this really nice kind of transition from like light to dark. I don't know. I obviously need to play around with these a little bit more, but I do like this eye look though. I like this color kind of tapped in the middle, and then using this shade as like an eyeliner, I think works. Okay, so that is Cosmic Pearl. All right, let me remove this eye look and we will move on to the Instant Eye Palette, Smoky Eyes Are Forever. All right, whew, I'm glad this is the last one because my eyelids are starting to feel a little raw. Okay, let's take a look at this palette. So we've got 12 shadows in here. We've got 4 different looks, 3 shadows each. And these are all pressed powder shadows, but we have some mattes, we have some very high shine metallic shades, and then we have some satin shades. And here are the swatches. So the first 3 are the Love Eyes. Next we have Power Eyes. Next we have Happy Eyes. And then finally we have Confident Eyes. So I feel like Happy Eyes is something we've seen from Charlotte Tilbury quite a bit, so I'm not gonna play with that. The Love Eyes is really pretty, but I feel like we kind of covered that territory with the Celestial Pearl palette. So for me, it's between the Power Eyes and the Confident Eyes, although I feel like we've seen this too with her Rebel palette. I think I'm gonna do a mixture of these two because I do wanna use this metallic shade here, which, does it look? Yeah, it's like a pinky, really, really, really pale pinky purple. That one looks really interesting to me. And when I swatched these shades, all of these shades, the mattes, the metallics, they felt really, really creamy and silky. I'm really excited. So I am going to grab a fresh brush. I've got my Sonia G Blender Pro brush here. I'm gonna go into this pinky color here. There is definitely like a rose gold undertone to this color, so I think it looks a little bit warmer on my skin versus how it looks in the pan. In the pan, I want to say it looks pretty cool. You know, it has that like little bit of purple in the pink, at least how my eyes see it. But once you get it on the lid, I feel like any kind of rose gold that's in here is really much more prominent. Okay, I was really hoping that this was going to be a little bit of a cooler tone, but it really is. I hope you guys can see that. It's really, really warm looking on the lid. Yeah, it looks so pinky purple in the pan. Yeah, it looks really warm on the lid. Okay, moving on. I do want to try one of these greens from Power Eyes. This one, of course, the one in the middle catches my eye. So I am going to grab another brush. I've got my BK Beauty Angie Hot and Flashy brush, the A504. This is like a small blender brush, and I'm gonna go into that middle metallic green shade. The outer corner here. This is exactly what I thought this color would be. Ooh, wow, that's pretty. I don't know if these two shades necessarily go together, but I'm just going with it. All right, and normally I would put matte shadows down first and then just kind of layer shimmery colors on top of it, but I'm gonna try a matte on top. I really wanna see how these mattes work. Let's actually start with this lightest one. I'll highlight my brow bone or underneath my brow here with that, just to get a feel for them. I've got my Sonia G Builder brush from her Lotus set. I'm gonna go into this pale matte shade here. I do feel like it's softening the edge of that metallic green. Oh, that's nice. Okay, I'm going back to that 504 brush. I just cleaned it off. I am going to hit this olive green matte shade, and I'm gonna build it up just on the outer edge here of the metallic green. I wanna see if I can build the matte on top. Oh yeah. It's like it's still shimmery, but the matte kind of tones it down a little bit and really kind of helps blend out those edges. Ooh. And then I'm grabbing the Sonia G Soft Definer from her Lotus set. I'm gonna go into this shimmery shade, the last one in the first trio here. Add that to my inner corners. This shade is a little chunky for sure, so there may be a little bit of fallout. Ooh, that is some killer inner highlight. Ooh. And then I'm grabbing the Smudger One brush again, and then I'm gonna go into this chocolate brown matte shade and line my eyes. Wow, this ended up being a much more dramatic look than I had intended. All right, I think I unintentionally did a very kind of Christmas look because this shadow does have that kind of warmth to it, and then this green. So I feel like we have like a red and green eye look going on here. That's totally was not my intention, but I'm like, hey, I think this could work for Christmas. Well, those are the 3 new holiday palettes from Charlotte Tilbury. If I had to pick one to go with, I would definitely go with this one. You have more options and more varieties, and you have a nice range of different finishes. But if you're a quad person, like I love quads. I find them simple, they're travel friendly. They just kind of take any guesswork out. You don't have 12 shadows to choose from. If that is more your speed, I prefer the Cosmic Pearl quad to the Celestial Pearl. Of course, if you're looking for light shimmers, this is obviously going to work for you. But I think in terms of a quad that will give you a really polished one and done look, and you do have some options to go a little bit more glitzy or a little bit plainer, I feel like you have more options with the Cosmic Pearl. This, you're always going to get a really light, shimmery, glitzy kind of look, where this you can stick to the light satin shade if you want just something really light. You can use the two top shades here, which have like a very light satin finish if you want something just everyday and casual. And then of course you can glitz it up with the shade down here with the duochrome, and then you can line your eyes with this. So I just feel like this is a little bit more versatile, but I like the formula of all of the palettes. The larger palette for sure is different from these. I find that the metallic ones in here are very creamy, almost like a creamed powder, and then the mattes are like super, super silky. The ones in the two quads, they were less creamy. They weren't dry, but they weren't quite as creamy and like intense as the ones in the larger palette. And then like I mentioned, the Beige shadow in the Cosmic Pearl, this one is much harder pressed or harder baked than the Beige shadow in the Celestial Pearl. I don't know if you guys can see it, I'll zoom in here, but this one, you can even see it looks like a little more crumpled on top, where the one in Cosmic Pearl doesn't look like it's been used as much. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section, and like I promised, I'm hoping to get some of that Pat McGrath holiday content up for you guys. I'm just waiting for those two new quads and the new highlighter to come in. Still waiting for a shipping confirmation, so we'll see when that comes. And that's it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already. I'll see you in my next video.